Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Mind Your Business Show. I am your host, Milt Walker, joined today with Mr. Tony Calloway, the Private Money Godfather. How are you today, Tony?
Milt the Maestro, man, I am doing fantastic. Everybody, it
Good.
is a beautiful morning here in Columbus, Georgia. When I say beautiful, it's a light overcast, a little chilly, a little damp. It's a little of everything, but it's a lot of excitement, man. I tell you what, I just love these cold days. We don't really have winter down here. We
Right.
have cold hours of days, or we have a cold day in a week. And then after April, we just have heat in various degrees. So
Right,
I'm enjoying
exactly.
the crispness that we get to enjoy here before the grass starts back growing and all that good stuff. And so, what's been going on with you in your world there, Maestro?
Oh, just a lot of, working on a few projects and, just trying to make sure everybody stays secure in today's day and age. We got a lot of these security threats coming out, so I'm just trying to stay on top of that for everybody and, try to get everybody on board and protected. So
Right. Well,
that's my main focus right now.
like I'm telling y'all need to get in touch with the Maestro because just like they got the vaccine for COVID. You don't want your computer to catch a virus.
Right.
Just like you don't want
That's
to get
not
COVID-19, you don't want your computer to get a virus, to get hacked, to get ransomed, or any of those crazy things that people can do sitting
exactly.
there because they have nothing better to do than just mess up your life. So I encourage you to get in touch with him, and I'll give him a little bit of time a little later to talk about cybersecurity. For those of you who saw the promotion, normally on the first Saturday of every month, we have Richard Roop, our resident real estate investment genius, joining me on the show. He is actually having a boot camp that neither he nor I kind of registered that it's a Thursday, Friday, Saturday because he moved it is overlapping with the day. So he sends his regrets that he's not able to be here with us, but he has made a very generous offer. And that is something we'll post a little bit later in the show. But each and every one of you, if you say that it's a gift from the Godfather, you'll be able to actually view some of the replays of their 3-day boot camp where Richard Roop, a legend in real estate investing, is talking about the creative real estate strategies, some of what we'll, I guess, do the tip of the iceberg discussion with today. But I do want to thank you all for tuning in. And it's going to be an exciting show. So I encourage you, as always, to get your pen and your paper and everything out. I know, of course, you can watch it again, but I want you to definitely like, follow, and share. Our numbers have been going up, and I appreciate all of you who've been sharing this with other people because, we do this, Milt and I, every Saturday because we care about you. We want to see you succeed in your ambitions for real estate investing, for business, and in life. So, not to get too woo woo about the whole thing. It's because people give from which they have, which is the most valuable thing that we would consider wealth. So, to the extent that everything that we talk about here on this show, we say if you're going to go in business and stay in business, you have to mind your business, is to help you to know more. Because they say if you know better, you should do better. Am I right, Maestro?
That's right. That's
All
it.
right. And I was just talking with a contractor who's over here doing some work in the building. And he and I were talking about some of our real estate investing coaching program. In fact, starting probably in April, we're going to start having some of them on the show. And we were laughing, saying that when it comes to real estate investing, I said, you either going to get education or you're going to get experience. But either way, you're going to learn that lesson.
Right. Right.
So this
Exactly.
morning, we want to give you some education because we don't necessarily want you to get the experience part.
Right.
So this is tuition free education right here. All right. So what we're going to do in honor of Richard Root's absence is we're going to still talk about creative real estate. And for those of you who don't know, and we hadn't talked about it in as much as Richard's been on, I guess 4 months in a row now. I used to be one of Richard Roop's real estate investing coaches for his platform. I
Yeah,
can't
that's
remember what
right.
the name was right now, but it was like five of us, and people who would get involved with his and back then his boot camps and everything were live events and all that stuff. So after people participated, Some of the resources were available, but a lot of times it was, how do I do this? I remember I took a note on something and it sounded real easy when I was there, but you get away from it, kind of like you take a meal off the stove, their maestro, and after a while it starts getting cold
Hmm.
when they get out of the environment, and some of it starts getting fuzzy. And I think another important part of it is fear starts creeping in. Because so when you're running with the gang, hey, everything's bravo, but when you're out there by yourself, it's kind of lonely. So as coaches, and very much for the Flipping Money Not Houses coaching program that we have going on right now, is doing it with a group, but having somebody there can help to keep you from making mistakes that would otherwise maybe sabotage your ultimate accomplishment. And the other thing I think is kind of like having those training wheels on, if you can relate to a kid learning how to ride a bike. As I was telling the students here, I said, I can teach you, you can read, you can watch videos, you can see other people riding a bicycle, but until you actually get on that bicycle
Right.
and call yourself doing what you see them doing, you realize that I'm not getting the same result. It's just the little things that until you actually start pedaling and start trying to keep your balance and all that, somewhere along the line, your brain pulls it all together. And so I want to say to everybody, whether your ambition is related to business or real estate or whatever, get out of your head and get into reality. As you start executing, you will refine that knowledge and understanding. You will gain knowledge and understanding and insight. People who can support, assist, and advise you, resources will come to reinforce your efforts once you start doing something. But if it's all just in your head, it doesn't necessarily happen that way. So, with that being said, we're going to talk about creative real estate, because three things I know everybody wants to do, and two of them we can help you with right here at the Private Money Syndicate, where we power dreams with private money. Everybody wants to start a business, and everybody wants to invest in real estate. The third is everybody wants to write a book, and my book is going to be coming out soon, Flipping Money Not Houses.
Right.
And I want to thank my partner, Matthew Chan,
Hmm.
who was one of my mentors, for helping with that. In fact, I want to share some of his old works that he and I were working on. It's amazing how fast time flies, but we'll get to that. All right, so if you're ready to start taking notes, when we talk about creative real estate, we're talking about non-traditional transactions. Now, let's put this in contrast with traditional transactions. A traditional real estate transaction is like this. You get a real estate agent. The real estate agent finds you a property. You make an offer. Let's just suppose that your offer is accepted. A lender gives you the money to buy the property. And so at closing, where the attorney makes sure everybody gets paid through the escrow process, you wind up getting the property with a mortgage on it. And so the lender has a lien on this real estate. You now have the deed. That means you control the property, and the seller gets whatever amount of money were the proceeds from the sale transaction. So that is a traditional real estate transaction. All right. So that is not what we're going to talk about today. Now, some parts of that play into the process, but ultimately, when we talk about the actual financial elements involved, this is where ultimately, and I don't know that I'll do a good enough job explaining it to you in this program today, real estate is all about agreement. It's all about creating value for both parties. In other words, that exchange of value is that the seller gets what he wants and you get what you want. Now, let me ask you all a question. Has anybody here ever sold something that they didn't want to sell? And I'm sure in the extreme, somebody said, well, yeah, I had to sell something. But most time you don't want it. In other words, I want something else more than I want this item that I'm trying to sell. Would you agree with me on that,
Oh
Maestro?
yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So from the standpoint that the value ultimately resides in two parts, that I get something tangible that I want, and I get something intangible that I want. So just to kind of set the stage with that, and we'll see if we have any shout outs and anybody who's already tuned in, is that one, obviously the seller wants some money. All right, we have to, acknowledge that will be obvious. Uh, and the other thing is they don't want the property anymore. All right, so from the standpoint, if you recognize that we have to ultimately accomplish both ends. Then the transfer of ownership of the property to you helps them to get rid of it. But now how we deal with the exchange of value such that they get the money that they want, we need to think about that in more extensive, maybe more creative terms. And so that creates the foundation for creative financing. But before I get deep into the subject, let me see if we got any folks tuned in, any shout outs. And so Maestro, who's with us this morning?
Yeah, so we do. We have Edward Winton joining us. He said from Tampa, Florida. He said, "Good
Hey,
morning."
Super Bowl
So
land.
yeah, yeah, exactly. Down there enjoying the fun in the sun. Um, and yeah, so that's it. Shouting out so far.
All
It's
right.
probably gonna creep in a minute, but yeah. So
All right.
let's continue.
Well, we'll come back to you. All right. So there are four strategies I'm going to talk about today. All right. So make a list, kind of space out so you can make notes in between. Lease option. The second one is buying a project subject to. So just write down subject dash to TO, subject to, and that's subject to the existing financing that's on the property. The third is the wrap around mortgage. And the fourth is contract for deed, contract for deed. All right, so let me start with definitions so that you'll understand functionally what these different creative financing strategies are. Lease option, there are two parts, right? So let me talk about the second part first. All right, an option means that, well, since Milt brought up Daniel down in Tampa, where the Super Bowl is going to be, the option play. The option is a quarterback can hand the ball off or he can keep the ball. Okay, that's not all right. So an option means a choice. So with an option, that means that the buyer has the option, but not the requirement to buy the property, or they can pass. And they usually pay a fee called option consideration, whereby they say, let's just say we're going to use Milt since he's here with me today. That I'll give you $500 to have the option to buy your piece of real estate for X amount of dollars by a certain time. So the parts of an option are an agreed upon price to exercise the option, an agreed upon time within which this option has to be exercised, or else it expires, and a consideration, which is the amount I just said. I think I said $1,000. If I said something different, the point is all the same. You have to have an amount of money for a consideration. Now, if I fail to exercise my option within that window, and let's just say, for example, it's 12 months, then he gets to keep that $1,000 because I failed
Right.
to exercise my option. All right, because he had that property, nobody else could buy it or anything like that. I don't have to buy it, but I have the option to buy it within that 12-month window. Now, the lease part is something that most people are familiar with, and that is you can rent a property. Most people sign leases whether you're renting an apartment or rent a house. That's the lease part. So when you put those two together, it's a lease option strategy. And I'll come back and talk about ways that can actually be implemented. All right, the next one is subject to, which is the short term that's typically used, subject to the existing financing. Now, my good friend Matthew Chan, and I'll glare where you guys can see this. Now, this is one of them old-fashioned things called a CD. All right, back, get a close on.
Whoa, what is that? What is that? I
Yeah,
don't
yeah.
understand
Those of
what you
you who
mean
might
by
be
that.
age or younger, yeah, this is a CD. In fact, I'll show you what it looks like on the inside. All right.
Right, right, yeah. You might want to do
Matthew, oh yeah, and I forgot this one. I'm sorry. I just talked about lease option. That was on top of, all right, lease option essentials. All right. So
that.
Matthew was my mentor as well. In fact, he was a mentor of mine before Richard. And so we were learning these creative financing strategies. And so again, the lease option was the first one I talked about. And so this book is probably still available on Amazon. Strategy is still the same. So if you want to check it out, please feel free. All right, now the subject to is, all right, a house has a mortgage on it. And I talked about the traditional financing. The mortgage is the loan that somebody got to buy the property. And so the bank has something they call a lien that is represented by this contract called the mortgage. All right, the mortgage is actually the legal contract. The lien is that encumberment. I know I'm using some terms, but in other words, the bank says, well, you can't technically see. Here's where people don't understand. They say, well, you can't sell this house unless we are represented in the transaction because we have an interest in the property. In fact, we put most of the money up for Milt to buy this. We use him as an example to buy this 3-bedroom, 2-bath house. We're going to use a figure of 100,000 so I can keep up with the numbers in my examples. All right. So he has his house he bought for 100,000. Let's say he has a loan on it or a mortgage that has $50,000 balance. All right. So theoretically, and I say theoretically, if I'm going to buy the house, I would have to pay off that mortgage in order for Milt to get his money for selling the house. And then I would have a mortgage that would have a lien on it. However, this is the part most people don't understand. It's legal. Check what your lawyer, Google it, whatever you want to do. But I have actually sold a house subject to. All right. Now, going back to the example, all right, the deed is the document that shows who owns the property, is on file at the county's records, and this is in the and they call it the deed, whatever deed book is probably all online now, probably digital. But the fact of the matter is, it's recorded, and in the deed also there's recorded this loan or this lien for the mortgage company that has a loan on that property. Now, Milt can actually transfer the deed to me, and we leave the mortgage in place. So the mortgage has a payment called a house note. Most of us know what that is, associated with it, has to be made every month. To kind of get to the short end of the conversation, the mortgage company really wants that payment to be made every month.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Because if it's not made, they foreclose and they take the property. All right. So now here's the point. Now, Milt can transfer the deed to me, and I have to pay him some kind of consideration for that. And then basically I take over making the mortgage payment. Now, the mortgage company may have clauses in their contract saying that the property cannot be conveyed without them being settled. But the reality is, and I do not know of anyone who has ever had a mortgage company call the loan due because somebody else decided they want to send payment every month instead of Milt. The mortgage company doesn't really want the house. They just want those payments being made. So this subject to strategy allows somebody to actually buy the property without necessarily getting new financing to pay off the old loan. You just take the loan over, basically the way to say it, and you start making payments on that loan. Now, there's some things you need to do to notify the insurance company, the tax commissioner, and the mortgage company that the property has been sold subject to. But to my knowledge, and somebody might have different knowledge, but I mean, I've been around a while, I've not known any mortgage company to call the loan due because somebody bought the property subject to, and actually sold one of my properties to one of our clients who was actually on the show. Let's see, it was about a year and a half ago, and he's still paying on it, I suppose. Okay. But, we had a transaction where I paid him some cash to take over the property instead of him having to go out and get financing. So I sold that property subject to. All right. So now the third strategy is the wraparound mortgage. Now, the wraparound mortgage is somewhat similar to the subject to, and that's why I covered it first, in that the existing financing that was on Milt's property is still in place. However, instead of just giving me the deed to the property, what Milt does is have another mortgage created because maybe there's Milt wants to also maintain some cash flow from the property. And so let's just suppose that the existing mortgage of $50,000 has a $500 payment associated with it. And so Milt says he's going to sell me the property for an amount that I don't have enough cash to pay all that cash up front, but he adds another level of debt that is debt to me as a mortgage added to the property. So let's just say that 25,000, I'll just use that figure, additional debt that I now have against the property because Milt sold it to me at an amount that is greater than the existing mortgage plus 25,000. He creates another mortgage, not a second mortgage, but a wraparound mortgage. So now for me, the debt on the property is 75,000, 50 of the original, this wraparound, which is another 25. And let's just say, to keep the math simple, I'm paying Milt $750 a month. Now, what Milt is doing is taking 500 of that 750 and paying the existing mortgage company $500 a month. The mortgage company doesn't care. Why? Because they're getting payment. Milt is excited. Why? Because he got some cash and now he's got a monthly cash flow. Now, I'll get deeper into that one, but that's the wraparound mortgage strategy. So, again,
Mm,
I didn't have to go out and get new financing. Milt
right.
just took a piece of paper. It was probably more than just a piece of paper. A lawyer drew up another mortgage document that articulates the nature of the debt that is on the property. And so now he has a lien. So, guess what? If I don't pay Milt the 750, what's Milt going to do? Now, he already got my, let's say, he sold it for 100. Let's say it was worth 100. Paid him full price. I gave him 250. Excuse me, 25,000. He created out of thin air. He created another $25,000 worth of debt, and of course, the existing mortgage is 50. Milt forecloses on me. He already got my 25,000. He was getting $250 a month, but guess what? Now he's got the property back if I don't
Right.
pay him. Now, of course, if Milt doesn't pay the existing mortgage company, then they would do that. Now, that's one of the things that you have to be concerned about with the wraparound, is because you're also a third party in that transaction. Now, different ways that people handle that is they just pay each of the parties separately or whatever you want to do. But that's the wraparound mortgage. But instead of me having to go out and get a $100,000 new loan to pay off 50 to the old mortgage company and give Milt his 50. Okay, I basically, he said, okay, I'll take 25 from you. I'll take care of keep paying them for on their 50, and now you're paying me monthly on this other $25,000 that was created. So that's
Right.
the wraparound mortgage. All right, now the last of the creative financing strategies is what's called contract for deed. Now, the contract for deed is when the property is free and clear, which means that Milt has already paid the house off. There's no mortgage, there's no loan or debt on the property. So he basically creates a contract which says you pay me every month. It's almost like a lease. You pay me every month, and he can create his payment structure or whatever he wants to do. He can have me pay some cash up front, but basically he still holds the title to the property until I've executed and fulfilled the contract. Now, I have an interest in the property because, again, I have a deed to the property, but that deed is also covered by the fact that there are several different ways he can do it. We can have it jointly. In other words, the contract specifies how I get clear title to the property. So let's just say after I paid, let's just say he charged no interest and it was $100,000. So let's say, hey, I guess what, 250 a month on 100,000 be for 40 years. Let's say I got a 40-year mortgage, no interest.
Right.
All right. You get my point.
Right.
Then it's all mine and he goes away. Or there could be some other way that his encumbrance is reflected in the fact that he is basically creating the mortgage for me to pay on to be able to own the property. So when you look at these four strategies, here's the difference to kind of put them all in a lump over here on let's see, to this side. I don't know whether it's left or right to you. And here's traditional financing on the other side. Remember, with traditional financing, I had to go out, qualify for a loan. That means my credit had to be good. Now we're talking about investment. All right, we're talking about investment real estate. So I still would have to go to the bank, have a good credit score, but they're going to be looking at, what else I've got going on. They're going to be looking at my income and all this other stuff, because the bank and these mortgage companies are looking at me more than they're looking at the property. So they want to qualify me. And the main thing they're concerned about on the property is the value of it. Now I'm going to be renting the property out. Let's say I'm renting for $1,000 a month. Traditional financing doesn't care. They want to see I'm making enough money to pay all my bills and to pay that $1,000 a month, even though it's an income property. So that's why, folks, it's such a challenge for people to go out and get qualified for financing to buy investment properties at the bank or through a traditional mortgage company. And on top of that, it's going to show up on my credit. Now, even though I've got an LLC or S corp or whatever, it's still going to show up on my personal financial records as far as my FICO score and all that stuff. Now, let's go here to the other creative finance side. Forget which one we're talking about. All this applies. This is a transaction where I didn't have to go get a mortgage. The nature of the transaction being creative applied income to take care and service the existing debt that was on the property. I paid the seller. Remember, he wanted two things out of this. Milt wanted to get some cash, and he wanted to get rid of the property. Now, when I sold my subject to, literally, the guy I sold it to asked me a year prior about buying. I said, nah, nah, nah. I mean, I was making $450 a month cash flow. Then after two bad tenants, a tree falling in on the roof again, off neighbor's property, and I was just
Again.
in the mood to get rid of it. And he just have to ask again. Because that fact, I had him over there, I was talking to him and asked if he knew a roofer I could get, okay. So that, so timing, I wanted to get rid of the property. And so we structured the deal that made sense to both of us. And after I finish this little bit, we'll take a break and then I'll come back and I'll start talking about structuring. But, on this side, Milk got some cash. We worked out the details, make sure that the debt was being serviced, whether it was the basic debt or if he created a wraparound mortgage. And I got ownership interest in the property, either by the deed or some other conveyance. And the other thing that gets taken care of is, in often cases, when you find creative financing, you don't have a real estate agent involved. So you generally don't have to pay that 6% to the realtors, and some of the other financial costs associated with doing a mortgage closing, even though you still have to close it, ideally, I would say with an attorney, just make sure everything's done properly and somebody's responsible for that. You save a lot of money.
Right.
With that being said, if you don't have a lot of cash, and if you don't have, and let me talk about this, on private transactions, they don't care where the money came from. Now, in traditional, they want to see if you had to have $25,000 to come to closing. They want to see if you've had that money in your account for a while, that it was your money, it came from savings. It wasn't that money you took from a line of credit. It wasn't money that your mama gave you, just just for you to go out and put it in your bank account to show that you could qualify and stuff like that. They call that seasoning. They want to see you've had the money for a while. On private transactions, as long as you can put the money in the bucket at closing, they don't care where it came from. Okay, it could be a partner, it could be from a credit line, it could be your savings. But the fact of the matter is that those rules don't apply to private transactions. It doesn't show up on your credit report with a private transaction. Because remember, in the scenarios I'm talking about, there was no loan that was taken out. Okay. So now Milt feels like you can, on a wraparound, that you're going to make that payment every month. He's good. Okay. Now, if you don't make the payment, he's going to do what the bank would do. He take the property back. All right. So again, these creative opportunities open the window to people who don't have great credit, who don't have a lot of the cash that they would need to invest in real estate in the more traditional models, which is what most people think of when it comes to buying real estate. So with that, I'm going to take a pause and let Maestro ask a question if we don't have anybody else who's asked anything. And give me the other shout outs too. I guess you do the shout outs if we have any.
Yeah. So, we did have a lot of people start joining us and watching and learning. Miss Angela Blackberry Street of Washington says, "Good morning, guys. Enjoy this series." She's always with us.
Awesome.
And we appreciate that, Angela. Got some page likes and everything. And, mostly everybody's just kind of paying attention and taking notes.
Okay.
But for me, I think I'm just really paying attention myself, because some of these things I didn't even really know existed. So it was one of those things that I get kind of from the ground. Being
Mhm.
here with you, I can, we kind of, trade secrets through
Right.
technology on my side, and real estate and investing and financial wellness on your side, right? So that's kind of the relationship, and I'm just really enjoying it, and it looks like everybody else is as well. Marlon Allen just joined us, and he
Yeah,
says good
cuz.
morning. Yeah, he says good
All right.
morning, fellas, and
Rap.
ramp it up. That's right. He put hashtag ramp it up. Yeah.
Shout out.
shout out to ramp it up. The brothers who took their clothing business to
Yeah.
to international, to
Yeah. Yeah.
international
Getting their
distribution. Yeah.
manufacturing done in
Right.
Pakistan, I believe it is. So
Right. Right.
yeah,
Right.
yeah, glad to have you here. And matter of fact, I got to make an order for some more of the masks that you were nice enough to send me some samples of. So yeah, ramp is the way to go. All right. So all right, let me get into strategies. Okay. So let's start with I'll say the shallow end of the pool and lease options. Now, generally with the lease option, you're actually going to execute at some point in the future the purchase of the property. But the option is in place while you get your resources together, but the lease gives you control of the property. See, you can, if like in my office, I'm leasing my office, I control this building, the space in the building. So I have free use and enjoyment. That's a real estate technical legal term of the space. So from the standpoint, I have whatever I want to do. Now, if you're doing this as an investment, the other thing you have to have is the right to sublease.
Mm.
Okay. So from the standpoint that the strategy is, I might have negotiated with Milt, say, hey, I like your property. We agreed on the $100,000 price. I said, I'll pay you full price for the property, but I want to lease it from you with the right to sublease it and the option to buy it within 12 months. So we work out this deal where I'm renting it from him for $1,000 a month. So I control it with the lease. All right. But I have the right, which he has to grant me that right to sublease the property. And so I have no equitable interest in the property, but I have control. All right. Equitable interest means I've got ownership. I have no ownership, but I have control. All right. And with those two contracts, the lease and the right to sublease, which might be combined in one, I can now take that control. And guess what Tony Calloway can do? I can make me some cash flow. All right. And that's exactly what I'm going to do. So I'm going to find somebody who will lease it from me for $1,000 a month.
All right.
So what did I have to be able to lease this piece of real estate that's now giving me $250 a month? Let's call that $3,000 a year cash flow. Well, he might say, I want a deposit and first month's rent. So let's say the deposit is $750 and the first month's rent set. So I gave him $1,500. That half of it I get back when the lease. Okay, but and now let's just say the very next month before I made another payment, I got somebody paying me $750. So I give him, $1,000. I give him $750. I keep $250. So I invested, let's call it $1,500 to be able to make $3,000 a year on this. Now on the option part, so that's the lease with right to sublease. Now the option is I have the option to buy the house for $100,000. Now, oftentimes when you do the lease option, they have something when we say the option consideration, and some of the lease payment goes toward buying into the property to give you. Now, you don't get equity in the property, but maybe he'll say, okay, because I agreed to full price, he might say, I want to give you half credit for each one. No, to keep it simple, I want to give you $500 of credit every payment that you make that will go toward the purchase of the property. So let's just say, to keep the math simple, 10 months in, I get a private financing arrangement done through the Private Money Syndicate. You got to get with us or get a private mortgage loan. I didn't go to the bank. I came to the syndicate to get the financing, but I've done 10 months where he's giving me $500 of credit. So I've got $5,000 that goes as credit into escrow toward the purchase of the house. So from the standpoint that most of the time with private money transactions, you got to have $30,000 or 30% towards your purchase. So that's five. Let's say I got a credit line, which I encourage all of you to please get in contact with us. Go to privatemoneysyndicate.com, schedule a consultation. Our partner, he's on the show right now watching, Daniel Winton, operating in the black, our partner. I mean, we've been giving people credit lines for 25, 50. I think he was telling me somebody just got, and if I'm wrong, Daniel corrected in the chat, I think $120,000 approval. And some of these credit lines are 0% interest for 12 months. See, like I said, the bank, you can't use a credit line to buy an investment property with us. So back to the story, I get $25,000 my credit line. I got 5,000 credited, okay, from this 500 a month times 10 months. So that's 30%, 30,000, 25 and 5 is 30% of the $100,000 purchase price. The private mortgage loan that will not show up on my credit is approved. And now I execute a purchase of the property. So after this 10-month period, Milt is getting his sale. So he's transferring the property. Now I get the deed. Okay. And the private mortgage company has the loan against the property. But guess what? All this time, I got $5,000 credited. Then who paid it? The tenant paid it. Ain't that something? Ain't that something? I had an aunt used to say, ain't that something? The tenant put $5,000 in my hand. Well, actually, it went to Milt's hand, but he's putting it on the table for me to buy his house. And then I put $250 a month, and we just going to use the 10 months, $2,500 in my pocket. And all it took for me to do this was first month's rent and a deposit, which we said was $1,500, and I paid him $500 option in consideration that actually goes into escrow toward the purchase. Now, let's just suppose, or did I say 1,000? Let's say I said 1,000. I keep forgetting the number. Anyway, I gave him the amount of money for the option. Now, if I execute the option, that gets credited.
Coming around. A lot of money coming around.
That gets credited at closing toward the purchase. Now, let's just suppose at the end of that 12 months, if I did not buy the property, the Milt keeps my $1,000 option, but I still have the lease. Now, my lease was 12 months, 24 months, 36 months, whatever. Well, one of the things that Matthew Chan was expressing is when you do the lease option with right to sublease, you do a long-term lease, you do with rights, you have the right to renew. In other words, it might be 1 year, but every year I have right to renews. So I don't have the commitment, but I could, and then you do your leases with your tenants just on your 1 years, hoping they'll stay. But if they move, you can increase the rents over time. But you want your option to control the property, try to hold that lease the same for as long a period of time as possible with renewals. So there are a lot of subtext strategies with that, but the easiest way to get control of the property when you're not ready to buy right now is using the lease option, where you have the option to sublease and then you have the option to purchase. So basically the strategy I just explained to you was $1,500 plus $1,000, $2,500, and you could get that on your where's my wallet at? You can get that on your credit card. Okay, you don't even need to get a line of credit for that. But now when it comes to actually executing the purchase within this 12-month theoretical, it could be longer if you agreed with the seller. But you get your private loan, you get your credit straight. We'll get your credit. We'll get your credit. Don't you worry about your credit. Come see the Godfather. I'll get your credit right. Okay, and then we get you a private money loan that you can use to buy the property, and a credit line that you can use for your down payment when it comes time to get your 30% financing. 30% down payment for the 70% financing. All right, so does that make sense, Maestro? I see your face. I can't see everybody else. So do you follow me? I see you smiling.
Yeah, definitely.
Do you grasp the concept?
Oh, yeah, I've already got it. Yeah, definitely.
All right. Were there any questions or anything before I go to the next one?
So, yeah, well, no questions just yet, but we do have a couple more shout outs. Brandy Denise, one of my friends, she's joining us this morning. She says gems. She says that you're giving some great insights.
Thank you.
And she was actually on my podcast last week. This past week. And Marquise Crampton says good morning.
Hey,
Marquise is joining us. Yep. Edward Winton says it was 120,000, and says you have another customer that should be coming in at 90,000. So,
hallelujah.
So there you go.
We helping people, folks.
Hey, numbers don't lie.
The numbers don't lie. Schedule that consultation. Let's put you on the scoreboard for your life. Putting some of these strategies to work. All right. But did you have a question, Maestro? I think you were.
No. I don't have a question right now. No.
All right. So I just noticed the time. So let me speed up a little bit. All right. Now, subject to. Now, these last three are where you actually get the deed to the property. All right. Now, the subject to, if you've been with us the whole time, is where the existing mortgage that Milt has on the property, he's got this $100,000 property that still has a $50,000 balance on the loan. For the sake of discussion, the payment on that mortgage is $500 a month. All right, so now the subject to strategy is we go to closing. So Milt says, all right, Tony, tell you what, I will sell you the property. You give me $50,000 and you just take over the loan. That's the easiest way to describe it. Okay, so when we go to the attorney's office, I got to give up a check for $50,000. Now, again, Milt just reported that Operating in the Black has just gotten a client approved for $120,000 of OPM. I didn't say opium, I say OPM, other people's money, a credit line. All of y'all got credit cards. That's basically what it is. So because they had, see, your credit is an asset. Let me digress only to make this point. If we can get you, if you don't currently have a 700 credit score, you can get $50,000 to $100,000 just like that. Now, how long would it take you to save up $50,000 to $100,000? Now, I think 2 weeks ago I had a show where I said, if you need to spend money to get your credit, now I ain't talking about going shopping and buying a new car. I'm talking about getting stone cold wealthy. All right. If you need to spend $1,000 or $500, whatever it is, to get your credit up 700, so we can get you 50 to 120, so you can go out here and do what I'm talking about today. Come on, folks. That's why they don't let me talk to you. I talk to you like I'm sitting there. This is the way Milton knows. This is the way I be talking to you. If you're sitting across my desk from me, get your mind right. Okay, credit is an asset. This is how you get rich. All right, you got to get your credit score to 700 so we can put this money in somebody else's money in your hands. So you go out here and make money for you. They're gonna get a few percent, 10%, 12%, 15%, whatever they getting. You getting rich. All right, so back to subject 2. All right, so let's just say I got a credit line. Yes, me, I got a credit line. Daniel got me $100,000, so I give Milt 50 of my 100, and I just take over the note. All right, so in that, yes, I've got to pay the payments on the 50,000 credit line, and I've got to pay the 500 to the to the existing mortgage that I took over in subject 2. Milt's got his 50,000. He's got both his problems solved. He wanted money and to get rid of property. Milt, have you gotten money? Yes or no?
Yes.
Have you gotten rid of property?
Yes.
Okay. See, he's happy. Smile for me. Okay. All right. And I'm
Right,
happy.
exactly.
So I got this property that I didn't have to come up with $100,000 for. I didn't have to go to the bank and qualify, jump over all that hoops and all that other kind of stuff, which maybe I could have done because you know what? I got a 700 credit score, but maybe my income wasn't sufficient. Maybe I'm trying to do some other stuff I didn't want it showing up on my credit report that I got this rental house. Okay. And so let's just suppose that the rental income I've got from this property is covering the payments on all this stuff. That ultimately maybe I rent it for, 1,200, or over time it gets a stronger, more positive cash flow. Maybe I refinance the whole thing later on,
Right.
And take out the old mortgage that was there and improve the cash flow profile of the property. There are a number of subsequent strategies that you can employ, but the first thing is you have
initial.
you got, in other words, like Norm the Invasion D-Day, you got to make it to the beachhead. And so once I'm there, then I can execute further because now I have ownership of the property. I can't do some of these things until I have ownership. So the subject 2 is the next easier way to go, especially if you have credit lines. All right, now next is the wraparound mortgage. Now the wraparound mortgage has a play that relates to another consideration that the seller has, because sometimes sellers don't want all the cash up front. So let's say Milt is independently wealthy and he says, okay, now I could get $50,000 from Tony for this house. Let's say it has a mortgage that has a $50,000 balance on it, but I would rather have cash flow. All right. So he was renting the house out for cash flow anyway, right? So let's just say he was renting it for $750 a month. He had a $500 mortgage payment, so he was netting $250. Well, wouldn't it be great if Milt could still get $250 a month and not have to worry about fixing and painting or getting the tenants in and getting the tenants out and stuff like that? Wouldn't that be cool, Milt?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And wouldn't it be cool also if Milt says, well, hey, you can just give me 25,000 and just give me a little something every month, and you take it and you do what you want to with it. So now Milt got cash now, and he has cash flow. Cash flow. That's what we all think of, recurring income. All right. So let's just suppose I got my credit line, right? And so I get 25,000 instead of 50. I give Milt that at closing, and there's this wraparound mortgage that basically says now I pay Milt $750. Milt keeps $250. He says the old mortgage company the other $500. So he makes $250. And the mortgage company gets their $500, so they're happy. He got $25,000 cash now, and now I go out and I rent the property out for $1,000 a month. So that $1,000, I'm making $250, and I now own the property. I have the deed. So at some point, I might say, and it might be part of the agreement, that I have to take out this wraparound mortgage and everything within, I'll usually say the norm like 24 months or something, but it could be, he say, hey, you pay me $250 forever. Because I like getting $250. I don't need the chunk of cash that I got to pay Uncle Sam taxes on and all this stuff. Just give me the cash flow. All right. Now, I have equitable interest in the property, but if I do not pay him, he can foreclose on me just as much as if the mortgage company that had the underlying debt didn't get paid, they could foreclose too. So one of the ways people often take care of making sure this done is both of them get paid by me. I know there's another debt on the property, so I pay them and then I pay him. That way I know I'm protected on both fronts. But from the standpoint of the transaction, he's also got clarity, like I've done this with clients, where they see the statements. You can go online and see, okay, the mortgage payments were made. Because see, if I don't pay the mortgage company, then they're going to take the property that he has a lien against as well. So everybody wants to know what's going on to make sure that everybody's. I have no vested interest in not paying, because then I lost $25,000 that I gave him. So I don't want to be stupid about that. So, you know, these things all exist and they make sense. And so this, I don't have the book here that Matthew Chan wrote on the wraparound mortgage, but you need to understand, and you can Google all these things, that these are creative real estate investment opportunities that exist. And the last one is contract for deed. So let's just make this real simple. Milt creates a mortgage that I pay him every month. The house is free and clear. There's no debt, no encumbrance on it. So he just creates a contract for deed. The contract is I paid maybe so much up front. So let's just say in this strategy, I paid him $10,000 and now I pay him $750 a month. Okay, and I do that every month. And as I pay him, then at some point in time, he might have where I've got to cash it all out. It might be 5 years from now or something like that. Because again, he wanted to get rid of the property and he wants cash flow. Now, if he's getting $750 a month and he doesn't have to fix it, clean it, manage the tenant relationship and all that kind of stuff, he's got what I want. I want cash flow. You know, that the house is just the means to the ends. So now that I'm in a position where I can lease, if I'm renting for $1,000, I can make $250. Then I might come back, get a, you know, go qualify after I've seasoned. This is called season. I've owned the property for 12 months, and then the lender will do what they call a refinance, and they'll basically make a loan to pay him off the balance that he wanted. And now my payment might drop down to 500. So where I was renting for 1,000, now I start making 500 a month instead of 250 a month. But I had control of the property, and in this scenario I just created, I just came in with $10,000, okay, which could have been from a line of credit. So I hope in the course of it's been about 50 minutes now, I've enlightened you to this side of real estate investing that we support here at the Private Money Syndicate with our relationship with Operating in the Black, because we help you to get control of cash. We can help you get control of real estate with a strategy as simple as the lease option strategy. You can control it and cash flow it and then do it with other people's money. All you had to do is have a good credit score, 700. And 700 is great because your car insurance rates can go down. Your cell phone bills and all these things that you probably didn't know, these little toxins, because you got a 400 and 500 credit score that are leeching money out of your life every month. You paying more to have bad credit than it costs you to get good credit, dadgummit. Investigate the facts. If you don't believe me, check it out. So what I'm saying is your life could be dramatically and forever changed if all you do is make the decision, a right-minded decision to get you a good credit score. And let's get busy. It's that simple. It's deep and it's true. And it can happen for you. Let the Godfather show you how. I'll lead you, I'll guide you, I'll support you, but you got to want to make things happen. And all I'm saying is what we do. In fact, I was thinking, Milt, I was talking to Jermaine McCall, who works with us on the credit repair. I said, we need to change our slogan from your dreams powered by private money back to your dreams powered by more than money. Because, you know, the knowledge, understanding, and consultation that we provide along with access to private capital is life-changing, folks. Right. All these people that I think we probably got over 55 people right now getting credit lines. They're doing this so that they can have businesses, buy vehicles, to be in the transportation industry, invest in real estate. And they're doing it not with money that they saved up, not with money that they had, but money that they were able to control and then employ for their profit. So please understand this is for real. And if you're watching this now, if you watch it later on, you need to go to www.privatemoneysyndicate.com and talk to me quick, fast, in a hurry. Schedule you a consultation. Now, if you love somebody, you need to also share this video because we can change some things around here. This is Black History Month, okay? And I've been making posts in my story. I say history made black. You know, the fact of the matter is money doesn't care who controls it, but you got to understand the strategies, the means, and the methodologies. And today, now Richard probably would have said something different, but he ain't here. Okay, they have great tools and resources. And I think this is probably the point I want to mention that the maestro is going to put it in the chat that Richard Roop, who is a legend in the real estate investing arena, he was a mentor of mine. I actually worked as part of his organization, shoot, back in the 2000s something, which seems so long ago. But from the standpoint, you know, get some education tools and resources. His Ultimate Profit Generator is a phenomenal tool for you to be able to, I mean, you can actually pay more for the property than the person's asking for and cash flow it and still be able to create these dynamic things. This tool is a great resource for helping to structure creative financing deals. But the foundation of that is understanding these 4 strategies that I talked about. Now, I will just recap real quick. Well, no, before I recap, so I don't run out of time. Maestro, we have any questions? Because we only got like 8 minutes.
No, we don't have any questions. Edward Winton says, preach to the people. Ebony joins us. Hey, Ebony.
Hey, Ebony.
She says, really great stuff. I'll definitely be minding my business and calling the Godfather soon. And Belinda Lane says, shared. So she shared it.
Thank you, Belinda. We really appreciate that. All right. So, and thank you for the comments. And I want to just say to Daniel, you know, this brother and their business and his staff is really changed a lot of lives working with us as part of the Private Money Syndicate, because like I said, money is a commodity. And from the standpoint that the thing that made me say that our slogan may be changing to, you know, dreams powered by more than money is, and I say this, I have had more people send folks to me for financial rescue and resuscitation in the real estate space because they didn't know what they were doing. And the sad fact is that they had the money to run out there like a kid running out in the traffic, you know, to get run over. You know, they had good incomes or whatever, they had good credit. They went to the bank, they got a loan from traditional mortgage, they had cash and all that, but they didn't have solid strategies to be able to make the financial work for them. I mean, they pay too much for properties. They don't understand rehab and go out there and get jacked around by contractors. I love contractors. It's kind of like, you know, who's that say trust but verify, right? I think that was Reagan. Okay. And then they can't exit. They can't exit with either cash flow or profit. I mean, I can tell you stories, and it's sad. That's why you need more than money. Okay, you need somebody who knows what they're doing and seen, kind of like that farmer's commercial. You know, we've seen a lot. That's why we can do a lot of cover a lot of where we cover a lot because we've seen a lot. I've seen a lot. I'm telling you some of the mistakes I've made. Okay, but then on the other side of that, the thing that keeps most people from investing in real estate is they don't have the money. It's not only that they don't know what they're doing, but they don't have the money either. So listen to me from my heart. It's Valentine's Day coming up. If I could get, let's just suppose I could get you the money. I ain't giving it to you, but I could get you the money and give you the understanding of how to go out here like I am with the people in our Flipping Money Not Houses coaching program to go out here and get you some properties, get you some cash flow, and build some wealth for your family. Is there any reason, any intelligent reason why you wouldn't let me do that for you?
It's a good question.
Is there any intelligent reason? Don't say because you're scared. You're supposed to be scared. Why? Because you don't know what you're doing. But I'm not going to, you know this for a fact. I could make 3 times more loans if I was going to let people go kill themselves. We call that infant mortality in my, I said, I want 0 infant mortality. I don't want first time rookie investors going out there doing stupid stuff. I see it too many times. They get sent to me trying to save them. Um, and we and my coaching students, they get mad. But I say, look, man, I could have been made some money with you, but right now I'm trying to help you become a real estate portfolio. I want you to have 100 properties. I want you to kill yourself on the first one. Okay, so the knowledge and training, and Milt sat in on some of the sessions, it's these little things of learning to ride that bicycle, those nuanced things that it looks so simple. I read it, I understand it, but when you get out there to doing it, everything's moving. It's kind of like, what they call a kaleidoscope kind of thing. When you've done it a few times, you see your way through it. But at first, you kind of get stuck over here. You get distracted over there and stuff like that. And that's why I'm here to help guide you through this process. And now we're going to have another Flipping Money Not Coaches, Flipping Money Not Houses coaching program starting up in the summer.
Right.
But right now, you don't need to wait. You know why? Because interest rates you can get interest for so many, and you need to get your credit right now. Get your credit right now so you can be in position by summer to get with. Okay. All right. So I mean, I love y'all. I'm telling you, man, this is the best time in history because all you need to do is want it. That's it. Just want it, and it appears. They say the student will, the teacher will. What is that? When the student is ready, the teacher will appear. Exactly. Well, thank you for tuning in to the Mind Your Business show this morning. And hey, look, we appreciate it. Please like, follow, and share. There's a post in the chat that you can go and get the replays. And Richard Roop's boot camp is still going on today. That's why he's not here. He sends his regrets, but he does say that you need to mention in your email or in the chat that this is a gift from the Godfather. And what is normally, I think, like $1,700 is free just because y'all know us. I mean, it's beautiful. And I want to turn it over to the maestro to take us on home. But y'all listen to what this brother tells you about getting your cyber stuff secured so that you don't catch a virus. I ain't talking about the corona. I'm talking about the mother. I love you and appreciate you. Maestro, take us on home. Now, thank you for your time this morning, too.
Not a problem. Thank you for all the insight and the gems and the jewels that you've been sharing with us. We really appreciate it. And yeah, I mean, every day you're seeing in the headlines where there's been another cyber attack on another firm, on another company. People's information being held for ransom. People's computers being taken over. Just let us, protect your assets by protecting your IT infrastructure. Especially, it's especially important for small and medium-sized businesses because you want to protect your employees, even if we have plans that are for remote workers where we can help you protect them and manage your IT infrastructure, providing IT support and everything that you need to make sure that you have your IT department in your back pocket. So with that, I'm going to say have a great Saturday. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. Thanks again, Tony. And we'll see y'all on the next one. All right. Make sure y'all mind your business too.
Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.